World headquarters of common sense.
Talk Radio.
We're going to go straight to my next guest, Kellie-Jay Keen, the writer. Hello, Kellie-Jay.
Hello.
Sorry to keep you waiting. We've just had some big breaking news. Cressida Dick has just resigned. But let's remind ourselves what we're going to be talking about. Let's listen to Adele accepting her Winners' Award at the Brits.
I understand why the name of this award has changed, but I really love being a woman and being a female artist. I do. I'm really proud of us. I really am.
Well, for that, she's been described as a transphobe, and she appears to be in big trouble. The transphobe, some people in the trans community say that this proves that she hates them. She doesn't want them to exist. I mean, this is a bit of an extrapolation, isn't it? A bit ridiculous.
Well, I watched it live, and I did do a bit of a, she certainly said something that was pro-women. I think she's going to pay for that, and it will be all over Twitter. And it was. What mistake Adele made is that the only people that are allowed to talk about being proud to be women are men. And we are in a new era. This is not ordinary misogyny. This is trans and gender misogyny. So it really is a brand new way of hating women.
So we just heard what she said. I love being a woman. I'm proud to be a female artist. We must stress that this is not the entire trans community. This is a few extremists, but on social media. Here's what one Twitter trans warrior said in response, or wrote in response. So she said, I'm proud. I love being a woman, and I'm proud to be a female artist. This is the response. Who'd have thought Adele was a transphobe and would use her platform to call for the destruction of the trans community? I mean, what a ridiculous thing to say. This is where some of the trans community, a vocal minority, do not do themselves any favours. She didn't call for the destruction of the trans community, and she in no way said anything that's transphobic.
No, this is a recurring theme in this whole debate, though, isn't it? It's the erasure of women. It's erasure of women's voices. We are not allowed. There was a women's march a few years ago, and Munro Bergdorf, who is a man who identifies as a woman and a model and has a very big platform, said that it was trans exclusionary to talk about reproductive rights for women. And right throughout, we've got the NHS. The word woman is being erased. The people that, like I said, the people that aren't allowed to use the word woman are women. And the way that we're not allowed to use the word woman is when it's related to anything to do with women. So we're not allowed to be mothers, for example. We have to be birthing people. We're not allowed to be women. We have to be menstruators or cervix havers. I've been following this since 2015, and I can honestly tell you this is exactly where it's always been going. In 2018, I put up that billboard that was a dictionary definition of the word woman. And when I was on an ITV programme, I was basically treated as a pariah for wanting to talk about the word woman and talking about the way in which the word woman is being erased. So this is a logical conclusion for me.
Yeah, here's another response. Oh, no, Adele can't be a TERF. Remind me what TERF stands for. It's what does it stand for?
Trans exclusionary radical feminist.
You know all the terms. I did know that, I just forgot. Trans exclusionary radical feminist. Again, all she said was, I love being a woman. That makes her a trans exclusionary radical feminist, does it?
Well, in these days, if you just simply say women don't have penises, then you're a rabid transphobe. So, yeah, of course, if you talk about loving being a woman, if you talk about loving pregnancy, enjoying your maternity leave, that is obviously leaving out some men who will never, ever get to that stage of womanhood, mainly because they're not women. And so, yeah, we can't have anything. I think Dove ran advertising a few years ago where they talked about all these wonderful mothers around Mother's Day. And obviously we now have to have the obligatory man included all the time. I mean, we talked about the barrister the other day There is not a place in which women can have anything that men don't feel, that they're either being excluded or it's their right to be right in the centre of it.
There's an author and media consultant called Jane Simons, and she wrote a decade ago, if someone had said a woman could be criticised for the thought crime of saying she liked being a woman, I would have laughed at such a ludicrous suggestion. Now it is happening. This is where we're at. I mean, she's right, isn't she? This is a strange period of time we find ourselves in. I mean, like you, I think Adele knew what she was doing when she said that, didn't she?
Well, she was making a point against the gender-neutral...
Yeah, the new awards, yeah.
Yeah, the new awards. I mean, I think surely we're getting to the stage where these awards are quite meaningless anyway. We can just look at YouTube to see how many hits they've had to see whether or not these artists are popular. But it was an interesting night because then they had like 59 people in every category because they had to include so many people. So I think she was making a point about loving to be a woman. Somebody wrongly asserted on Twitter that she said she understood, as in she sympathised with the reason, and she didn't say that at all. She said she understood why they did it. She didn't say, I agree with them doing it at all. And I think actually that her finishing off with, I love being a woman and a female artist, I really do, I'm proud of us, I think was definitely asserting that she knows what a woman is. Look, she's had a baby. She's been a woman in the music industry. I'm pretty sure that she is reminded consistently that she's a woman.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for trans women being able or being allowed to celebrate their womanhood, you know, but women should be allowed to do that as well, shouldn't they?
Of course. I'm just going to...
You don't agree with my first point, do you?
Of course I agree with your latter point, that women are allowed to... Look, I find being a woman a bit of a superpower. I absolutely love being a woman. Without being a woman, I wouldn't have had my 4 children. I think I have a very special place in the world that I've actually got 4 children. It just feels like a superpower. It's amazing. And women should be allowed to talk about it. In fact, we should be allowed to talk about it much, much more without any caveats that we are trans inclusive or we don't want to upset anyone. I think, you know, forget that, to be quite honest. I'm quite happy to upset whoever gets upset by the fact that I will celebrate being a woman.
Well, you should be able to celebrate being a woman, and as I say, I think trans women should be able to celebrate that as well. Neither should be stopped from doing that, and Adele, I think, getting in trouble from certain members of the trans community is just ridiculous and does their cause no good at all. Kellie-Jay, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
Good talk. Hot talk.
Bold talk. Talk radio.
Listen on your smart speaker.
Watch it live on your smart TV.
The world headquarters of common sense.
Talk radio.